Good evening. This is Hanifa, and this is Kingswife Talk Podcast. Coming to you this evening in reference to that homeownership versus renting. Homeownership has been a keystone of the American dream. Just having the ability to be able to decorate your walls, paint your room. You can paint your sky blue if you want to. Bring your dog in. Like a lot of rentals, they let you bring your dog in, but you got to pay that $300. And guess what? A lot of places not giving you that back. So you just added $300. But it's kind of good because a lot of times pet urine and hair and things like that do often destroy property. I'm telling you this, I'd rather live in something I own if I had a pet. But to each his own. However, and then there's weight requirements and things like that. I've actually had someone have me keep their dog. They paid me to keep their dog because their pet was over the weight requirement and they were not even aware of it. They had this big old dog and asked me to keep it. They was giving me like $40 a week. I appreciated that, but the dog was really kind of old, had loose bowels and things like that. I don't know what happened to that dog. His name was Ike, but I was keeping it for some close people to the family. But there's that. Again, homeownership has always been, a keystone, a big part of the American dream. Like tax savings, equity building. Like if you want to build a new business, there's always that help that you can have from having a home. And what I mean by that, for example, whenever you want to go ahead and own a home, you're always going to have to put down a down payment. There are places that offer down payment assistance, but that down payment is going to be from 3% to 20%. A good example is like, say if a home is like $275,000, right? Okay, you'll need to put down $8,250 or $55,000. If you got the $55,000, that's so much better because you'll have way more equity in your home. But there are places, like I said, that has down payment assistance programs if you don't have that much money saved up. Equity is defined as an asset, you guys. Remember that. It's best to have assets than liabilities. Write that down. It's always best to have assets than liability, okay? Renting, it normally has little upfront costs. We know that. Rent might be $1,200. Nowadays, I'm noticing that a lot of owners and complexes and stuff like that, the rent may be $1,200, but they're just requiring you to put down a $500 deposit. I'm noticing over the years that the deposits are becoming more shorter. I'm noticing like 3-month leases, 6, 12, like it's definitely a difference because some people don't want to rent now for a whole year. Some people might just need a space for a couple months in a rental. Who would have thought, times has really changed a lot. Again, renting has little to no upfront costs. Again, just requires that first and last month. Your home appreciates in value. So over time, and nearly all homes tend to appreciate in the long run. As you pay your mortgage, your home will act as basically a de facto savings account. So what that means is that the more you pay your mortgage, the more you'll be able to take out if you need to. People need to sometimes help with paying for their kids' tuition or even their own tuition. There's a lot of adults that end up going back to school. Renting requires fewer unexpected expenses. So if you own a home, you may have to replace a water heater, you might have to replace a water softener, replace a toilet, things like that. But if you rent, you already know the landlord is responsible a lot of times to replace that. But if it's something a damage that you did, they might require you to take that out your deposit. So that little $500 could be gone. So the monthly expenses may be lower when you're renting. Sometimes the landlords, they pay water, trash, gas. Being a homeowner, you already know a lot of times you're going to have to pay that. I don't care if you're in a townhome, association fees, something is going to have you paying that water, gas, trash. You're going to pay for it some way, somehow. According to the Center of Census and Bureau, you know how many times the average person moves over their lifetime? 12 times over the course of their life. That's how many times a person moves. 12 times. When you're dealing with rent can increase. and become too much for your budget. That's another thing. I was just talking to someone and they was just saying how they hate the fact that every year their rent goes up. They went from paying $1,200 to $1,300, from $1,300 to $1,350, and now they're already expected to be raised up for 2021 to $1,400 in the midst of a pandemic. There's no mercy. Okay. A lot of times when you're dealing with, like we're dealing with this pandemic right now, this COVID-19, there's modifications that people can get because a lot of people are not working right now. A lot of people can't work right now due to this virus that's running amok amongst the people. So make sure you protect yourself. It's very sad that we have to go through this, but a lot of renters are being protected at this time because of it's such a big pandemic that people can't move right now. It's pretty sad. When you own your home, there is no landlord to pay for repairs. This means if your water heater quits during a blizzard or your septic tank fails just before house guests are due to arrive, it's your responsibility to take care of it. That's one thing that I know a lot of people want to duck and they are afraid of. But I'm going to tell you this, there are so many things out there. American Home Shield is one that can help. You pay like $40 a month. Anything goes wrong, they're right there. You pay the deductible, they come right out and fix it. It's so much stuff that you can use. Service Plus. That's another good one that you can have that can help if your refrigerator goes bad, if your dishwasher, your washing machine, dryer. There is places that you can use and have in place to pay monthly so that if something does go wrong, at least you'll be able to get it fixed. That's the best thing about it. It is clear that home ownership comes with advantages, tax savings, and equity. The disadvantages could be higher upfront costs and responsibility for repairs, like we're talking about now. On the other side of the coin, renting has financial considerations of its own. Some of the most important things to keep in mind is yours. That's one thing I can say. I often see a lot of new homeowners rush out and they want to do everything. They want to get it all sparkly and new, not knowing like you can take your time. You don't have to rush. You can actually take your time. This is your home. You'll be nestled here for a while. Okay? Take your time. You don't have to rush and do every little thing right away. Get in there, get comfortable, enjoy the home, fill it out, get used to those new home noises, things like that, and then you'll be all good to go. Generally, the cost of moving into a rental is much less than a down payment on a home. While you do incur several costs, again, just that first and last month, that security, occasional extra non-refundable fees like we talked about with the pack cleaning and things like that. But how about this? Although mortgage payments are generally lower than rental costs, other factors do come into play. And that's those utilities. Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't dodge those, you guys. I wish I could tell you there's a way. I remember living in a different city. I lived in the city of Minneapolis, and the water, the trash, everything was connected. But living in a different city, everything is separate, so you get that. And then being out here, taxes are higher, than being in the city. So it's really a big difference onto where you live, how you live, and how you want to live. I've noticed in a lot of people, they're looking for these dream homes and they can't even grasp onto the fact that maybe I need to switch my location so that I can find me a nice house. They want to stick to certain areas, but the whole time you're not going to be able to find what you're looking for because the price ranges are different. You have to remember, you're only going to get approved a lot of times if you don't have all the money down. You're going to get approved for a certain amount of money. You're going to have to work with that. And I'm telling you, those underwriters are the best. They rock. They know how to fit that stuff in. But you want to make sure you get a good realtor that's going to be able to help you too. I'm telling you now. So where you want to live is going to be very, very, very important. Are you looking for a swanky townhome close to shops and entertainment venues? Urban, suburban, like whether renting or buying, it is important to consider all of these things that come along with every potential location. If you have children or plan to have children, schools will certainly be a factor, along with other considerations such as like a yard, proximity to parks and green spaces, overall safety of the neighborhood. Me personally, I do not like living by apartment buildings. I do not like buying homes by apartment buildings because that's too many people coming and going for me. I do not like buying homes by apartment buildings. I've been a homeowner for over 20 years now. You will also want to consider the day-to-day factors such as commuting for work, things like that. That's going to be a really big factor. I know people that have been renting their entire life. They're now ready to purchase a home. But when you do like calculations and you see how much money that you've spent, you could do this on your own. Okay? See how much money you've spent and how much money you have left after you pay rent. All that money could have been going towards you and your children having a home. I know a lot of people who are single men and women who own homes, and they're doing good. They're happy. They feel like that investment was the best thing that happened to them. I feel like there is no way you should be able to lose your home to foreclosure. The reason why is because you can just apply for a rental license and rent that puppy out. Okay? So when you take the homeowners classes, they always tell you you want to have at least 1 month or 2 months of mortgage put to the side. That is very, very important, you guys. Okay? You want to keep that in mind. The reason why is because, again, we're in a pandemic right now. Who would have thought? You might lose your job. Unemployment ain't kicked in. Boom. Here you go. You got that money put to the side. You know, again, like I said, there are things that can help you with having a mortgage, like a modification. A lot of times people use those modifications. They can help lower your mortgage while you're in that hardship. You know, especially if you're FHA, they might bail you out, you know, you might end up on them when you go to sell the home. But guess what? You'll have been and kept your home. You won't be homeless. Okay. And again, you always want to get a great realtor, a really great realtor. And I can't stress that enough because there are so many great realtors that are connected with awesome loan officers. I promise you, I see it on a regular basis. That is so important, especially if you don't have as much money as you would wish you could have to put down. So when it comes to owning versus renting, it is a lifestyle thing. What I mean by that is, for example, when I was renting, I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. I lived on top of this lady who used to take her broom and she would bang on her ceiling because my boys would be running around. When she began to do that, I said, I'm going to get me a house. Because I was like, no way is she finna run my children and let them not be kids. I think not. Okay. And that was over 20 years ago. So yeah, there's no way. Over 10 years ago. I'm sorry. There is no way. No way. Over 10 years ago, you guys. I'm so sorry. I've been doing so much research. But I've been a homeowner for over 10 years. I've been a homeowner for exactly 13 years, owning multiple properties. With that being said, being a homeowner is and was a dream of mine. I've conquered it. I've done it. I've helped other people become homeowners. I've hooked other people up with awesome realtors. They're happy in their homes. I know someone that does help with credit. Like, I have earned so many good connects when it comes to homeownership over the years that it is really awesome to see. Now, again, as I was saying, it is a lifestyle thing. There are some people who really super duper like to travel. And especially if you live in states like Minneapolis, like Minnesota, where I am, it gets really, really cold. So if you like to travel a lot, you can take the risk of having frozen pipes and stuff just bursting on you. So you might want to stay in a rental because at least in that building, you know, the people that live in the building with you, they'll keep things warm.